Hi, my name is Mark Biernot. I'm a monetary economist, and I'm coming at you from Eastern Europe. And in this video, I want to answer the question, can you trust Ukraine and the Ukrainians? Is very relevant because we're giving aid to Ukraine. And there's this narrative, and I think it's misinformation, that you cannot, or at least not fully. And this is what my response is. First, I'm going to lay all the cards on the table. Absolutely, you can trust Ukraine and Ukrainians. And first of all, let's go on experience. The aid workers, international aid workers in Ukraine, universally say the same thing as the people who are serving in Ukraine, foreign people serving in Ukraine. You can trust Ukrainians. They're very sweet people. They're very good people. They're honest people. In my personal experience, I've traveled all over the world when I was an international man of mystery, and I've been in some very tight situations in Africa, in the Middle East, in Latin America, where I've been chased in markets, and I've been doing the chasing, both. And in Russia, certainly with the police, I've had run-ins, and in even countries like Germany, I've had problems. But in Ukraine, I never ever had a problem. Been there a countless number of times. In fact, let me tell you a story. I used to go grocery shopping in Ukraine because of the differences in the currency and the prices. I would simply take a train to Ukraine, buy a month's worth of groceries at the market on Saturdays. The market would close. I'd ditch the groceries in the bushes and I'd write a note, these are my groceries, please don't touch them. Then I'd go doing whatever, internet when I was young and beautiful, in Lviv, Ternopil, and deeper into Ukraine. And nobody ever, countless times, touched the groceries. I would just scoop them from the snow or, the autumn or spring cool weather. They stayed preserved and bring them back, and I'd have a month load of groceries. I followed up on that when I was living in Boston, and I'd go up to Montreal and do the same at the French grocery stores there. I wouldn't ditch them, but I would take them with me. And the differences in the currency paid for the trip, the hotels, the rent-a-car, etc. Interesting idea. Well, my point being, going back to Ukraine, never had a problem. Never had a problem anywhere in Ukraine. In Crimea, never had a problem. In Kiev, never had a problem. Eastern, Western. Everybody was sweet, honest, and good. It's almost like old school. When a Ukrainian gives you their word, it's like worth something on paper in the West. In the West, we put everything on paper, but everything has loopholes, lawyers, and more loopholes. But in Ukraine, somebody gives you the word, that's good. Incidentally, one of the places I used to hide money when I went abroad was in, I think you'll like this as a traveling tip, I used to take the most stinkiest fish, like pickled herring, and put it in a jar, then take my money and passports, wrap them up in plastic bags, Ziploc, and then stick it in the herring. And you could basically leave the door unlocked because nobody would, go into a jar of stinky pickled herring, maybe with a little bit of mold on top. Anyway, going back to Ukraine. In America, when you look at corruption and you look at objective measures like transparency.org, Ukraine is making huge strides. You don't even have to go to transparency.org because it doesn't currently reflect the situation of the massive cleanup Zelensky's doing. But you have to understand these are all relative, culturally relative measures. So somebody might be high and somebody might be low, but it is to an extent how you measure it. And let me give you a specific example. There's corruption even in my sheriff's office, I've told you before. And at the top level, we have a presidential candidate in a post-truth political situation spewing misinformation that goes unchallenged. Oh, he's a convicted felon, by the way. Is that not something to be questioned with trust? The word trust. Trust is the fundamental value, Eric Erickson, that all humans form from 0 to 2, that we rely on for our life. I can't trust that person, okay? But in Ukraine, I don't see that situation at the top. I don't see it anywhere. I've never met any situation in Ukraine where I've had a problem. But in America, I'll tell you another story personally. I knew this lady that went off with her husband to a self-improvement seminar, and she met another man who made a lot more money than her husband. He was selling, let's say, cactus water. The cactus water, the blue agar with the little worm at the bottom. He was a distributor in South Florida. He made tons more money, and she ran off with him at a self-improvement seminar. And then in my county, she's giving self-improvement seminars on how to go for what you really want in life. Don't you see that's a culturally accepted, in my opinion, moral problem? But in America, we may not judge it as morally wrong or it's not bad or can't be trusted because it seems like a more culturally accepted thing. I would never see that in Ukraine. Ukraine, I've encountered many religious, humble, spiritual people. And I have done work in Lviv and in Ternopil and places like that where the people are just honest and they're giving you the shirt off their back. They're not caring so much about this obsession of ultra competitiveness that you have in the States where dog eat dog, and sometimes you have situations like that. And again, the lady came back and she was giving seminars and everybody just kind of like it was a culturally accepted thing. I think it would be scandalous in Ukraine, something like that happened, and it would make the news. So we've got a couple ideas here that the main idea here is based on people serving in Ukraine, people, humanitarian aid going to Ukraine. My experiences as a world traveler, and I've been to more countries than you could ever imagine. I can't even count them. I try to count them and look at my old passports. I've never had a problem in Ukraine, had a problem in almost every other country. Based on this personal subjective experience, I can trust Ukraine. Based on the information and feedback coming from the workers in Ukraine, they can trust Ukraine. So where is this information coming? Maybe in a post-truth political world where lies and truths are mixed. It's a powerful weapon for political agenda that, they want us to question where this money is going and where this aid is going. And I can tell you right now, they've cleaned their act up so much that it's not even worth mentioning that, of course, this is misinformation. You can trust Ukraine and Ukrainians. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you very much. Have a great day. My name is Mark Biernat. I'm a monetary economist, and I'm commenting on the geopolitical situation between Russia and Ukraine. Oh, by the way, I've had horrible situations in Russia, including with the police. Ukraine, not a problem. People, again, giving me their shirt off their back. Thank you very much. Have a great day.